Join Dalton and Jacob as they discuss the ever-changing world of trading card games. TCG Buzz starts now.
Hello and welcome to TCG Talk. I'm your host, Jacob, and I'm really getting sick of looking at your face. This is Bryce. Say hello to the people, Bryce.
Hey, TCG Buzz. I'm back here, and then we're going to tell you why time dragons are not busted.
Disclaimer, this was not Jacob's idea for a video.
We definitely have our differences. It's literally like one side of the community versus the other one. It's basically the epitome of this video.
Like, this is one where I'm like, yeah, that's an interesting topic. But Bryce is like, no, but I really want to do this. So I'm like, fine, let's do it. And I get to occasionally throw out a bomb of controversy, as I love to do. So, first, before we get into it, please, we're going to be continuing this discussion on our Discord, like right after the episode goes out. I'm going to post them like, hey fam, what's your thoughts? And I expect you to respond and say, oh, that TCG Buzz, they've done it for the last time.
Time dragons are busted. I can't play my FTK deck.
Hey, FTK decks are a symptom of a healthy, thriving game.
You mean like Yu-Gi-Oh?
Yes. Like Yu-Gi-Oh. Everyone loves Yu-Gi-Oh.
I also love just staring at my opponent, watching them as they hopelessly can't do anything.
All right, so we're talking about Time Dragons, I don't know, as of now, top deck in Buddy Fight.
Like, you see the statistics, like, over the last couple of regionals that I think it was in, I don't know if it was a Japanese one or
Japanese.
one. Yeah, where it was 70% Time Dragons, split 15 both ways between Dimension Dragons and the, like, FTK stuff.
Or, like, Triple Buddies.
Yeah, like the thing.
And then a bunch of random stuff with
Right.
Mystic. The point is, I think it was maybe even just locals, right?
Right.
Point is, Time Dragons are here. They're spear and they're pretty dominant. Bryce and I off camera had a debate on whether or not they're tier 0.
And they definitely do not feel like tier 0.
I think the debate sprung because we have different definitions of tier 0.
Right.
I will say they are not in the category of this is the only deck you can play.
Right. They're definitely tier 1. They're not tier 0 by any means.
They're maybe borderline, if giving some concessions, right? I will say they have definitely decreased the amount of variety you'll see.
For now. But the big thing, too, is it's the new hip-hopping thing. And then that's why people don't play a lot of their older decks, because it's like, well, I want to play this new thing. Well, why are you not playing your old deck that you're like, well, I want to try this out?
Remember when we were in Chicago at the first regional event of the season and everyone had to play Legend Dragons because it was the new hotness, even though at the time they really weren't that good?
Right, like, to play.
Unless you're Dalton and you fight against Jacob in round 1.
The thing is, though, is that Legend Dragons were absolutely insane, though. But at least you can deal with them before Buddy Fight was like, no, everything has anti-rest protection now, but also they can't interact with them at all now. After they're set afterwards. So,
your primary point here is no, Time Dragons are not busted.
They are not. They are strong, but they are not unbeatable.
Okay. Now that you've released your statement, your job now is to support that with evidence, facts, and opinions.
All right. In the court of TCG Buzz, here is the defendant.
Objection!
That card's banned. You can't play that.
That's obstruct. You dingus.
Oh, wait, objection is banned in DBS. Because we draw
wrong card game.
Cards. But back to Buddy Fight and the weird mangle mess that it's in right now. Is that Playing the deck, making upgrades to it slowly as, everything keeps getting bought out and things are getting ridiculous to pick up. But, the more upgrades I make to it, the stronger the deck's getting. But I noticed the key factor, even after the upgrades. The FTK decks that don't interact with you whatsoever and don't care what you're doing, they will always kill you, no matter what. You cannot stop them.
Let me talk about a couple weaknesses of the deck that might not be obvious to people. Because the first thing when I see a dominant deck is, how can I beat this? But not only how can I counter this, but how can I counter this in a way they won't be prepared for?
Well, also counter it in a way where it doesn't take up too much of your sideboard, so that way you don't lose to every other thing out there.
I'm going to give you 3 options right off the bat. If you just want to go to your next regionals and hate on Time Dragons and expect to play them every single round, here are some ideas.
Play an FTK deck.
Let me talk. Let me talk.
Okay, son.
So, number 1, play discard. You wouldn't think it, because they do have access to the 1 promo card that came with the deck, and because it came with the deck, everyone who plays Time Dragons will have them.
And this is why you should consider Black Organization and Godpunks, because Time Dragons value their hand very much.
And they only have that 1 response to it. The rest of the deck can do nothing against it.
Right.
If you go first playing a discard deck, a good one, and they don't have that card in their hand, which chances are they won't, because it's going to be in their sideboard and they hadn't sided it in game 1 yet, or they just didn't draw it because you're going first, they're going to lose.
Right. And the Time Dragons, if they're going against that deck, they're going to go first because they don't want to lose to that kind of garbage, because they want to try to draw into their side deck card.
Now, I will say, of the 3 strategies I'm presenting, that's probably the riskiest, because other decks exist. And now they have not 1, but 2 extreme hard counters to that strategy. Between that, the new card, and Recover Veil.
But I would, if you're solely hating on the hand, I would go with a new card, because then it's just once and done. Whereas suppose Recovery Veil becomes a burn spell.
Right. So the next strategy...
Speaking of...
spam. Guess what? Time Dragons can't play any generic cards, which means they can't play the 1 card that keeps this game in check. It's called Loyalty.
I miss Substruct.
Yeah, me too, but I understand it. But Loyalty is a format warping card, and to have your top deck
Not being able to
no
play
access to it is huge. But not only do they not have a defense to spam, and to be honest, Time Dragon's defense is decent, but nothing stellar, right? But here's the really cool advantage to spam. If you have counter spam, you have 1. Because they go, oh, I'm going to nullify your thing's abilities and flip it to your deck, right? You go, well, actually, I'm going to counter. Obviously, you can't if they've stopped time, right?
Right, yeah.
But you've got time before.
But I mean, stop time is very niche.
Use your counter play, right? Your counter timing. I'll use Mystic Knights as the example. You have your sync on board. When they do that, you counter evolve it into your counter sync, right? And it fizzles.
Right, because then the target's no longer there.
But not only that, Time Dragons just surprisingly don't do that great against really hyper-aggressive decks.
Oh, God, no. They get creamed.
So something like... Well, my mind blinked on good spammed. Legend Dragons are a good example. Also, Bang Dream.
Like Roselia, Poppin' Party, Mystic Knights.
If your deck plays more than 10 monsters in a turn, it's probably a good call.
Yes.
Item number 3 is FTK decks.
Which basically we were just talking about.
Right. They're hyper-aggressive, but in a slightly different manner. So those are some options if you're looking to counter Time Dragons. But let's get down to that question. Are Time Dragons broken?
No.
I wasn't sure before we started this episode what my answer to that question would be, because I'm kind of on the fence on it, but I'm going to say no. But I understand why people are mistaken. And there are two reasons. Reason number one is price.
Yep.
I think generally people's opinions of how good a deck are increase the more expensive it is.
Especially, like say stacks in Commander. Like if you're running like a Tabernacle, Mishra's Workshop, the fetch lands, people go like, "Oh, that deck's too powerful," and it's like it's just consistency and hate pieces to help me not die.
And this is an extremely expensive deck.
For all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
For namely because people are buying into the hype, the set is short printed, and distributors are not doing what they're supposed to, like handing the store the frickin' product.
It's an expensive deck, and I think that kind of warps people's opinions on it a little bit. And I get it. It's my opponent's going to win because they paid more money for the game than I did.
Prime example, Lost World. Everybody and their mother was complaining for the longest time how expensive Lost World is and how it's just a pay-to-win game.
Right. And I always said, if they reprinted all the major Lost World staples a couple months after they came out, then 80% of people's complaints with Lost World would disappear.
And the big thing about Lost World, though, is where I can at least get behind it a little bit, is that every deck can play it. Every deck can play it outside of the crossover sets, which I get because I don't want Black Organization to get that. But other than that, it's just like...
I am Poppin' Party, Destroyer of Worlds.
We lost Poppin'. We the lost party.
I think the other reason isn't because of how powerful the deck is. It's the things it does that are reasonably powerful are all the things that people hate to happen in card games.
People don't like interaction. People don't like things that take, a little bit longer to, compute through the game.
People don't like fighting against a clock.
People,
I did not mean that as a pun, but it's the same reason people don't like fighting against Death Count Requiem. They don't like to see their opponent sit there and go, well, you either do something in the next couple turns or I win.
Right. Yeah, they don't like the race against time. Well, there I said it again, dang it. But it's just, people don't like that sense of hopelessness, whereas like they can't do anything, and then they're forced to just watch needlessly as their opponent goes through the actions, yada, yada, yada. For some things, like, give you a prime example. If someone was playing, like, Magic and, they were playing, like, Nether Void, all your spells get countered unless they pay an additional 3. But what if I told you Mycosynth Lattice and Null Rod were out there so you couldn't play Magic in the first place? So nothing just happens. Like, that I can get behind a little bit.
The other thing I'll say is... I do feel Time Dragons are a rage-inducing a deck depending on what you're playing against them.
Right.
Because, oh boy, I was all excited like, hey, maybe I'll play Shadow Shades again for regionals. They're a fun deck, and they got new support that's pretty fun.
Chronos Trough just like crushed your hopes and dreams, and you're like, welp, nope.
It's literally flash the card in your hand, and you instantly win in that matchup. And that feels bad.
It is definitely a feels bad card.
But most decks aren't, I am stacking a monster in my center with tons of souls. You have to deal with decks. That's, them, Blood Boys, maybe a Thora, but that's even kind of a stretch.
See, Athora's rage-inducing is because you literally just can't interact with them at all. Because they just put 4 Eternity Rings in the soul, and then they deal you 16 damage in a single turn. Like, well, this is cool, my board's gone, I have no health left, and I couldn't do anything to interact with him, because he somehow opened up the bee's knees and drew half his deck, and opened up all 4 of his antimatter clouds, and his spell nulls. Very cool.
Yep.
Skill-intensive.
Yep. I will say it is interesting that Time Dragons are the first special flag that's specifically, a subset thing, like not talking about like the Dragonines and stuff. It's the first one we've ever gotten with a built-in spell null just thrown in there. like I guess you got Lattice the Tyrant, right? But that's,
Right.
On legs, so it kind of changes the dynamic
Well,
there.
it's not a built-in spell null. It's a built-in battle null.
So I'm like, if they had given Executioners a spell null and Guardians a spell null, I'm sure people would have complained about those decks more too.
Speaking of spell nulls, I think we're going to see a lot more people complaining about curses with this next set, with the Darkness Dragon World spell null that we're getting.
That card is pretty interesting.
You know what? You're definitely going to be playing it in the Number of the Beast, man. You're definitely going to.
Shh, that's a secret surprise for later.
Hey, I didn't say anyone was. I didn't tell anyone you were playing Death Telica.
Oh no, my secret is out.
Death
I'm
Telica.
playing Death Telica Black Knights
Now it's
at
just-
regionals.
Not just the 50 card special of just nothing but Death Telica. It's like, oh, I'm sorry. I thought I could play more than 4. My bad.
I'm gonna play 50 card Shadow Dragon with just Shadow Dragon. It's genius.
Right. But I mean, like, a lot of the things that people get, like, a lot of their hatred from Time Dragons isn't, specifically to that deck. It stems back to, like, God Punks and whatnot. Like, this sense of hopelessness where you can't do anything to fight against them.
Yes. That being said, do you think once the new support is out, not to age this video too much, but once the all these like 5 sets we're getting in a row come out, I think things will balance out.
Yeah.
I think we'll return to a healthy meta. Maybe Time Dragons will be one of those stays good for a long time, like Dimension Dragons decks. Maybe they're the next Max Dragons.
Where they're relevant for literally one event and then they get killed off by literally everything in the game.
This is pretty true. I don't know. I feel bad if you for the people who will inevitably go to a regionals and just get trounced by some Time Dragons, but
Right. But I mean, like, people don't like it right now because they don't know how to fight it. People don't like what they don't understand. That's why people don't like change.
like I agree with the statement that it's broken like 35%.
Like, not the entire thing in general is broken. There's only, like, a couple of cards that are like, okay, that's a little strong.
Oh, also, going back to my people are just persuaded that it's good. I think just having 4 flags on the field scares people.
Right, yeah. It's you're not used to that.
Like, even if they were all just blank cards, it would intimidate.
Right. And I hear all the time, like, oh my God, version 0's busted. But it's like, first of all, you have to go into your end ruler. So you have to wait 3 turns to do this, by the way. Not die somehow in all of this. Then put it from your hand, flip your flag over. So I don't know if that counts as 5 flips or 8 flips. I don't know. That's up to it.
27 and a half.
Yes, please, Bryce, do that. And then you have to pay 5 gauge. 5. And hope to God your opponent's not playing the pettiest, card ever created. Like, hey, is my time stop? You're dead instead. Very cool. You can't nullify this, also die.
So, I think we're getting close to wrapping up.
Right,
Right?
yeah.
I want to have my last thing be... I wasn't going to tell people this, but I've decided that I'm going to spoil the one deck that will win against Time Dragons 100% of the time. Oh, you're waiting for it. I can see the gears in your head turning, saying, what is he going to say? I wanted to keep it to myself so I could play it at regionals and guarantee, the top, right? Mm-hmm. Plague.
See Time Dragons. Oh, I scoop.
Dalton's in my ear. He's in our control room back there, and he's got a mic, and I could not repeat the many words he is sharing with me right now.
Just the demon inside your head.
I think that's a good point to leave it at. So, you outro us
All right, so if you like this video, let us know in the comments below.
Or if you completely 100%, that's cool too.
Time dragons are broken.
We still get the boost from it, so please do rage.
Like it or dislike. I don't know. I'm just a guy. I don't dictate your life. But go ahead and click the subscribe button and follow us on Instagram and chat with us in the Discord.
Smooth.
Yeah. Just like this outro.
Yeah. Let us know what you want us to talk about in the next episode of TCG Talk. And of course,
stay classy, y'all.
Oh no, Dalton's gonna murder you. That's his copyright.
If we go to like a small claims court, sir, he used my slogan patented.
No, I don't think this is gonna be small claims. I think this is going to the Omega Big Claims Court.
And Dalton just becomes the next Bill Gates off of a lawsuit. All
right, see you guys later.
Thanks for listening to TCG Buzz. New episodes can be found on tcgbuzz.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. For box openings, deck profiles, and more, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel.